welcome to our monthly membership meeting. Like to do it a little nicer for the recording. Our next monthly meeting will be on Tuesday, June 3rd at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I always like to start with that so you can save the date if you would like to attend. Our exercise of the month is marching in May for alliteration. And basically it means we're working on footwork. So there are all different ways that we can work on footwork. In sitting, we can do more footwork in even on the floor with our arms and legs. And then, of course, in standing, that is the most traditional place that we are going to work on different footwork, moving forward and backwards to the side, in and out. Today, even in power moves, we just mixed it up where instead of just stepping back and forth, right and left forward, we did right forward, left side, and then right side, left back, and kind of around like that. We can mix it up where we do call outs. We can practice turns. We can practice walking in different shapes like a square or an infinity sign. So that's basically what the exercise of the month is. It already came up, I think on Monday, someone was saying that, the symptom of freezing that some people experience, that's where it's difficult to take a step and your foot doesn't move as easily as you want it to or as automatically. And so this kind of footwork practice is what is really good for freezing and working on taking big steps, being able to adjust your tempo. Sometimes we might step in the same direction, but we might start slow and then go a middle pace and then go fast and then slow down again. So there's a lot we can do with the size of our steps, the tempo of our steps, etc. All right. It seems like somebody unmuted. Did you have a question? All right. I'm going to hit mute again, just so there's no background noise. And it's not letting me mute. Interesting. It's never happened before. Okay. There we go. Looks like everybody's muted. All right. So that's our exercise of the month. Maddie recorded a short video. So if anybody wants to check out that video, she shows some of the ideas, but there will be so many different ways that we work on stepping, and each therapist who teaches a class will have some different ideas. So I think that's going to be a really fun thing to work on. I had more ideas than I had time for today, actually. Our member highlight is Kahea, who is an awesome online member who's been exercising with us consistently, using more recordings, which we love seeing people live, but we also love to hear from people who are using recordings and really benefiting from them, because being able to fit exercise into your schedule, doing it when you want to, where you want to, and it's still working and benefiting you is just a dream come true for all of us. So it's really cool to hear Kahea's story and what she has experienced. She also utilizes information from Dr. Lori Mishley and is tracking her symptoms with the Pro PD, and really, has some inspirational things to share. So highly recommend watching her video. It went out in the daily email, I believe on Friday and Saturday. It's on our YouTube page. And I'll send it out. I'll do the update for our this month on our webpage too. So it will be there as well. So lots of places you can go to watch it. I think, watching these discussions we have with our members, I find very inspiring. And hopefully it is for all of you as well. And if you are someone who would be willing to be highlighted, please let us know, because we are always looking for people to talk to and hear their story and get to know them more. And, it's all of us are just regular people doing the best we can every day, trying to fit in exercise and eat healthy. And so it's really cool to hear when other regular people are having success. All right, our equipment highlight is something called a slack board. So you may have seen, what is it called? Like slack line, where it's this like thin flat line and people tie it between trees and they walk across it to work on balance and stability. There actually was a study showing that people who have freezing of gait did well walking on a slack line, which as a physical therapist, I would think I'm not going to put someone who has balance impairment on a slack line. That kind of sounds dangerous. So I'm not sure exactly what the reason is for the benefit, but I think it might be kind of a hyper focus on, okay, here's one foot, here's where the next foot is. It's not an automatic way of walking for us to walk on a slack line. It's something we really have to think about. So that engagement perhaps helps people. So now they've made something called a slack board, where they took that same slack line and kind of attached it to what looks like a snowboard so that you can practice some of the same types of balance exercises, even without having a slack line. This is a relatively small piece of equipment that is something that is possible to have in your home. Or if you go to a gym, you could check and see if they have one. You could ask if they could purchase one to have for you to work there. Or if you go to a PT clinic or anything, you could ask. So I'm going to play this video because I think it'll be interesting for all of you to see kind of what it looks like. Okay, there we go. So whenever we're doing something that's challenging for balance, a lot of times we like to hold on to something for support first, just to make sure we are safe. So using these TRX straps, you could use a ballet bar, you could use a counter. You can set yourself up in front of a couch or a bed so that if you do lose your balance backwards, you have a soft landing. So here he's doing some weight shifting, standing on one leg, lifting up the other leg. And you can see here, she is trying to lift her hands up as well. So those straps are there for support if needed, but if she can hold her hands up in the air, then she's not really using that support. Standing on that slack board while hitting the blaze pods. And even just practicing stepping on and off of it. But you can see there's 2 slack lines, so that helps. Oh, now he is stepping on and off like with every step. Ooh, good challenge. And a turn and a look. That's impressive. Ooh, stepping off behind a toe tap. Really getting fancy. Stepping on and off with some marches. Trying to hold balance once you step on it. Leading with different feet. Ooh, wow. A power up, reaching all the way down to the floor and then powering up. That is amazing. And so you can see she's not holding on to something, but she does have something in front of her if she needs it. So weight shifting side to side. And Linda mentioned that she looked at them on Amazon and she doesn't know if it's the same quality. I would be interested. I bet these are available on Amazon. And for one, I would check. It might even be the same brand. The brand is Gibbon, Gibbon, Slackboard Pro. So in that case, it's the exact same one. Otherwise, if it's another brand, it might be a little bit different in terms of quality, but it should be, tested to show that it's safe. And will kind of hold up the way it's supposed to, rated for a certain amount of weight and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think, it's a relatively small piece of equipment that you can have at home that you can use, family members might like using. And Linda said, yes, it's Gibbon. A quick look shows 1 strap. So yeah, they do have a 1 strap version. I believe it's actually the same board. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see a little bit of a hole here on either side. So you can use it with 1 strap or with 2. I highly recommend using 2. And then the cost is $180 to $199. So obviously it is not an inexpensive piece of equipment. It is an investment. But if you see things and you're like, wow, that would be really interesting and fun to use, then something you might want to consider. Maybe it's a Christmas present this year. And also, I think if you have anybody else in the household that would use it, or somebody that you maybe share it with back and forth or something, then it can make that investment a little bit more worth it. All right, our research highlight for this month is an article titled Interval Training Induced Alleviation of Rigidity and Hypertonia in Patients with Parkinson's Disease is Accompanied by Increased Basal Serum Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor. So that's a mouthful. I am going to exit out of this PowerPoint just for a second to share the article instead. So this article, that long title, is basically to say, so in this research article, they saw the research that had come out of the Cleveland Clinic with Jay Alberts looking at cycling and how when people, the article that I discussed last month, that when people were kind of forced to pedal at a faster rate than what they would self-select, they showed that they benefited more than when they exercised at a self-selected pace. So what we learned from that is that you don't have to be forced. It is your choice, but you have the option to choose to pedal faster, to push yourself and work outside your comfort zone, no matter what you're doing. And if you are on a bike, then the goal is to go faster than what is comfortable. If you're comfortable in the 40s, the goal is to go in the 50s. Once hopefully you get comfortable in the 50s, the goal will be to go in the 60s in terms of your RPMs. And eventually the goal is to get up to 80 to 90 RPMs, if at all possible. Even if you don't, that is okay though, as long as you are pushing and trying to pedal faster than what feels comfortable. So these authors saw that research and thought, wow, that's cool. Cycling is beneficial. Pedaling fast is beneficial. But they thought, not everyone is able to pedal at that faster speed continuously. And also that's not the most interesting workout. Doing intervals is a little bit more interesting. So they did a research study to see if we do intervals with cycling, will we still get benefit? And so they had 11 people. So not a huge study, which is pretty common in exercise studies because they're expensive and difficult to organize and recruit people for. So a smaller study, they had mild to moderate Parkinson's. They underwent 8 weeks of interval training, 3 times a week for 1 hour sessions each, consisting of a 10-minute warm-up, 40 minutes of interval exercise, and a 10-minute cool down. They found that training resulted in a decrease in rigidity, in the muscle stiffness that is a symptom of Parkinson's. And they also saw an increase in the level of brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So this is what we love to see. Physical exercise, something that you have access to do now, is something that can improve symptoms and be causing really beneficial brain changes up in your brain. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is something that is being researched to see okay, is there a way for us to get it in the brain? If you squirt it in, I think they did some sort of injection to increase the levels because it's basically kind of a fertilizer or Gatorade for the brain. It's really healthy for the brain to have a good amount of BDNF. So the fact that these things can happen with exercise is very exciting. So their study proved to be positive and beneficial. So this is one of the studies that is a reason why we do intervals, because we agree that intervals are more interesting for exercise. If we were to just get on a treadmill or on a bike, go as fast as you can and try to maintain that the whole time, for one, you probably aren't able to achieve as high of speeds if you're doing it continuously. And it's also just kind of boring. It makes the workout feel like it's going on longer. We want exercise to be fun and interesting and engaging. So doing those intervals, okay, we're going to go faster. How fast can you go? In most cases, if you're going faster for a short period of time, you are able to access and get those legs moving faster or taking bigger steps and go even faster than you would if you're trying to maintain that for a long period of time. And then we slow down and maybe we add resistance. So we are huge fans of the fact that interval training is shown to be beneficial. The other really interesting thing from this article, in terms of their training protocol, they basically did a cutoff of 60 RPMs. So the fast intervals was supposed to be faster than 60 RPMs with the goal of 80 to 90 RPMs if possible. And then the slower speed was allowing people to go slower than 60 RPMs. So it's an interesting way just to kind of think about it. And we kind of say 60 to 70 RPMs and then 80 to 90, but perhaps just using one number as a cutoff. I'm either going faster than that or slower than that might be an easier way to approach exercise. So that's one option. They did 3 minutes at the faster speed and then 2 minutes at the slower speed. And then what's really interesting too is what were the speeds that people were actually pedaling when they were asked to go faster or slower? Were they achieving 80 to 90 RPMs? So what they showed is the mean values from 24 training sessions is that the fast speed, the cadence was 67 RPMs and the slow phase was 42 RPMs. So they were basically in the 40s or in the 60s. So even if you are not able to achieve that 80 to 90 RPM, you probably are still going to benefit as these participants did. I would love to see the individual stats, like for each person throughout the workout, where there's some people pedaling faster than others. And then I'd also be interested to see how it changed from the beginning to the end of the 24 training sessions. On average, did people start a little bit slower and get faster throughout the training duration? I would expect that would be what happens, but you don't know until you see the data. So just, never feel discouraged if you are not actually achieving those 80 to 90 RPMs. We're using the quote that you shoot for the moon so you can land amongst the stars. That is what we are going for. We are shooting for that fast pace but even if we don't achieve it, we're still going to benefit from that exercise. The other option, and they looked at heart rate averages. So heart rate max averages were at 68% for the faster speed and 62% for the slower speed. So they were in the 60 to 70 kind of percent range throughout the workout. So that's good to know. We don't see as big of a difference between speed 1 and speed 2 in terms of what the heart rate was, but that is good. We consider kind of 60% our goal to get above 60% to really get the blood flowing up to the brain and help increase production of BDNF, dopamine, all the good things that happen with aerobic exercise. So that fits with what we're doing. Then they also use the Borg RPE scale, which is the rate of perceived exertion on a 6 to 20 scale. So 6 is no work. 20 is the hardest you can possibly work. So they were at 17 and 13. 17 for the fast speed, very hard, and 13 somewhat hard for their slower speed. So that's what we go for as well in our cardio classes. Even when we're at the slower speed, it's not supposed to be easy. It's still supposed to be exercise. And then the faster speeds are supposed to be really hard exercise that you maybe wouldn't be able to sustain long term. So what we see here, it really matches up with what we're trying to do in class. So we are happy because that is our goal, is to implement the research. So yeah, a few other things in there. So I go through and I made a video that the link for that video was in yesterday's email, I believe. If you want to watch me talk about that article even a little bit more in depth, you can check out that video. But yeah, I think it's exciting. It is possible to get better, to reduce symptoms, to improve BDNF production in the brain through exercise, and you don't even have to go as fast as some of the other research says. All right, important dates for May. So we do have a closure in May. We have Memorial Day on Monday, May 26th. So we will be closed, no online or in-person classes. Our members and our staff get a nice long weekend. For online educational meetings, so I still want to do a meeting on bone density. That was the plan for last month. I didn't get a chance to put it together. And this month has become a little bit busier for me because Jamie did need to go out on maternity leave a little bit earlier. So I've had to pick up a lot of things and don't have as much time during the day to work on things. So we're probably going to do our bone density meeting next month because I want to take time to have really good content and information in there. I don't just want to rush through and throw it together. So I'm trying to be smart and make good decisions and not overbook myself where it causes the quality of something to be down. So that meeting is still coming up. This month, we have our online women's meeting, which has been kind of more open for discussion. But this quarter's meeting, which is coming up next Wednesday, we are going to have a guest speaker. Dr. Tanya Denny is a naturopathic doctor. She joined us to discuss mucuna a couple months ago, and she just put together a presentation for No Silver Bullet about women's health and Parkinson's, looking at the connection between menopause, hormones, fatigue, gut issues, and Parkinson's. There's a lot of connections. So I was chatting with her, and she let me know that she was just doing this meeting, and I was like, oh, it's perfect timing. This month we have our online women's group, and it's great for us to have a discussion, but if we have the opportunity to have a great speaker or a meeting that's really interesting, then I want to do that. So this month is going to be kind of a special women's group meeting with Dr. Tanya Denny. So that will be next Wednesday, May 14th at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. This is on Zoom and it will be recorded. And she will present, she has, research and information, and then there will be opportunity for discussion as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it kind of turned into women's meeting, also a bit of education. But I thought since it was really focused specifically on women, we would do it during the women's meeting. So it just all worked out. Our educational meeting on Tuesday, May 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time we will have a webinar on exercise as medicine, focusing on skilled exercise. Last month, we talked about aerobic exercise, why it's so important, all the different ways it helps, symptoms, brain changes, neuroplasticity. So aerobic exercise is a super important type of exercise to have included in your routine, but it's not the only type of exercise you should have. We also want to be working on skills like amplitude, mobility, balance, agility, flexibility, posture. So those goals, a lot of people have similar goals, but it's also individualized. So we're going to be talking more about skilled exercise and how to incorporate that into your exercise routine along with the aerobic exercise that you're doing. So that will be our topic this month. And we will then in June, I feel confident that I will be prepared by then. We have a new therapist starting in June. And so then I will be able to get her trained and let her take over some of the classes that I'm covering this month. And then I will have time for that. RIM, great question, Linda. RIM means Rogue in Motion. So that is the name of our online membership. Our in-person kind of umbrella term for Rogue is Rogue Physical Therapy and Wellness. The online portion is Rogue in Motion, and that is what RIM means. So this webinar that I'm doing on Tuesdays is basically a webinar that is open to the public. So I'm doing one a month that is open to the public and also open to our members. But it's kind of the way that I'm sharing about our online membership with the general public, getting on and telling them about exercise and how we're incorporating it into our membership. So it's kind of one of the things we're doing for marketing. But then since I have felt like the topics and content has been pretty good, I thought, okay, I'll let you all know about it as well, because it's not just straight marketing where I'm just telling people, oh, this is our membership, I think you should join it. I'm presenting good information, saying how we incorporate this into our membership. Excuse me. So that's what the RIM means. Thank you for that question. Whew. I got a tickle. All right. In person, we had a women's group in-person meeting last month in April. We're doing them quarterly this year. So the next one will be in July. So any of our in-person members, or even if you're an online member, but you live close enough and you would like to attend in person, you are welcome to. So that'll be on July 11th. Online, next meeting is May, as I already discussed, with a special topic. For our online class schedule, there is no change to the actual schedule of classes at this time. There's just a change in terms of who's teaching certain classes. So on Mondays, I covered for Alex one day and taught 3 classes in a row, and she has been doing it just fine. But I, after doing it myself, decided I don't think it's ideal. We don't have any other days where anybody teaches 3 classes in a row. I think 2 is reasonable. 3 is a little much. So I decided that Alex would shift into seeing people one-on-one and doing assessments at that time, and I would take over the class. This is a class that likely Kate will take over when she comes on. And then for Tuesdays, while Jamie is out on maternity leave, initially I will be covering these classes, and then Kate will be covering those classes when she's trained and ready. And then once Jamie comes back, which the expectation right now is about mid-August is when she would be coming back. When she comes back, she will definitely take over some of the classes she's been teaching, and we'll kind of shuffle around a little bit. When she comes back, we will have an additional staff member. And so we'll kind of spread things out. My goal for each of our team members is that they all have a good mix of teaching online classes, in-person classes, assessments, one-on-ones, and kind of other things. So whenever someone goes or comes on, we shuffle things around a little bit to try to get it optimized for everyone's schedule. On Wednesdays, Jamie has been teaching the online cardio, so I'll be taking that over for now. And then likely Kate will be taking that over as well. And I will keep teaching on Fridays, though. That is my class. I'm going to keep it. So yeah, let's see. What else was I going to say? There are some other potential changes for the online class. The main other thing we're looking at is on Wednesdays and Fridays right now, we have 2 high intensity classes back to back, HIIT and then cardio on Wednesdays. And on Fridays, we have cardio and then HIIT. Mondays, I've gotten positive feedback where people really like the flow of Mondays, where we have a high intensity class, then our moderate intensity class, and then high intensity class. Because we've got a number of people who do back to back cardio and power moves or power moves and HIIT. Works out well on Tuesdays and Thursdays because we have 1 high intensity and 1 moderate intensity back to back. So something that we're looking at doing is adjusting on Wednesdays, basically flip-flopping functional strength and cardio. So we would have cardio at 9 a.m. and functional strength class would be at 8 a.m. And then on Fridays, I'd also like to flip power moves and HIIT. So HIIT would be at 9, power moves would be at 8. So that is not something I'm changing now. If you have any thoughts about that, please let me know. So far, the feedback I've gotten is that people would like that. They would like to have that moderate intensity class in the middle for being able to do 2 back-to-back. If there's anyone where that really would not work for you in terms of the change, please let me know. I know our functional strength class is quite a popular class. And if moving that to 8 a.m. would mean that there were a bunch of people who couldn't do it at that time, that might be a consideration. I also have thought a little bit about possibly adding one more functional strength and basically changing out one of the HIITs so that we would have 2 HIIT, 2 boxing, and 2 functional strength classes during the week. It would just kind of be a matter of what that functional strength training class would look like. How similar would it be or different? Because right now, if you want to do it additional times of the week, I would say, use the recording and do that workout a second or third time, because certainly doing strength training multiple times a week is a good idea. If we were going to add another live one, I would want to make sure that it was kind of different enough that it was worthwhile. So that might be something that we would change, in which case, like, functional strength might come here, and that is a more moderate intensity one. So that could go back to back with power moves or with cardio. So not making any of those changes right now, but just letting you know that I'm always open to feedback and thinking about ways that we can adjust the schedule that make it as optimal as possible. So any ideas you have, let me know. Or if you feel strongly, I probably only change one day at a time. And I will send an email out and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is that a problem for anyone? So you can let me know at that time if that is a problem for you. So those are the changes right now. Everything else is staying the same. Our in-person meetings with our support group, we have one today, is our first support group of the month. Next Tuesday, today's the one for members who have Parkinson's. Next week is for spouses and partners of people who have Parkinson's. And then the third week of the month is for all of our members and their spouses, anyone who wants to join. We are going to do a baby sprinkle for Jamie, light snacks on the 30th. So I'll think about, I think that we have some online members who would like to join in. So I'm going to think about how we would do that. If it is something that we kind of do at the same time, or if it's something where we schedule a little bit of a separate time before or after, so that Jamie is available to chat with those of you online. So I will talk to her about it and see if there's a way that we can incorporate online members into her baby sprinkle. And then we have our reactive balance training and athletic falls for anyone who wants to do that. Let us know and we will schedule it. All right, we have a community event coming up at the end of the month. And this is one that there might be one in your community. Now that it's springtime, it's kind of event season throughout the spring, the summer, the fall, all across the country. Different organizations are doing different events. This one here in Orange County is Parkinson's Foundation Moving Day. So Moving Day happens in many places across the country. I would highly recommend you go to their website and see if there's one local to you. Parkinson's Foundation does great work. Moving Day is a celebration of movement and exercise. They often highlight, someone in the community who's doing great things. There's multiple different types of exercise and movement available, usually dancing, some boxing, power moves, and then there's a walk as well. And then there's vendors and lots of great things happening. So the one here is on Saturday, May 21st from 9 to 12 in Irvine. We have a team. If you Google Moving Day Walk, or if you go to movingdaywalk.org, then you can click on the location to find ours. And that's also where you can see events happening across the country. So I'd highly recommend checking it out. It's a great place to meet people and see what other resources there are in your community that you may not be aware of. Future educational meetings. So in June, we will talk about optimizing bone health, still working on professionals presenting on dystonia or dyskinesia, new treatments in the pipeline, neuro-ophthalmologist and sleep. So let me know if there's any other topics you would like to hear about. Let me know if you have a doctor that you think might be interested in presenting for us. Since we do these meetings on Zoom, we can have a doctor or neurologist or someone from anywhere in the country present for us. So yeah, if you have somebody good, please let me know. There have been a couple times where I've gotten connected with someone's neurologist and then they'll say, okay, reach back out to me in a few months. And then sometimes I don't. So I got to go back and look and see if there's anybody great that I can request a presentation from. Otherwise, if you know of anyone, let me know. So now we have time again for questions, requests, discussion. So if you are watching a recording, if you have a question or request or something you'd like to discuss, feel free to email me at claire@roguept.com, respond to the daily email, or give us a call or text at 714-276-3992. Otherwise, I'll stop this recording and open it up to our members if there's anything that anybody wants to discuss.